Jack Collins never thought he would go to space. He was just a regular guy who liked computers. He grew up in a small town in Ohio and went to a normal college, nothing special. But now he stood in a room made of shiny metal, looking out at 3 purple moons in the sky. This can't be real, he said to himself, but it was 6 months ago Jack got an email. It said he was picked for the first human exchange program at the Galactic University of Theoretical Computation. At first he thought it was a joke. Then men in black suits came to his apartment. They told him it was real. Earth had made contact with alien life 5 years ago. Now they needed smart humans to show aliens that people were worth talking to. Why? Me? Jack had asked. I'm not even the best programmer in my class. The man in the suit looked at a tablet. Your test scores show you think differently. We need that. Now Jack stood in the arrival hall of the biggest school in the galaxy. Creatures of all shapes moved around him. Some had 6 legs, others floated above the ground. One looked like a pile of green jelly with eyes. A small flying robot came up to him. Earth, Representative Collins? Please follow me. Professor Zixvordian is waiting. Jack picked up his bag and followed the robot. The halls of the university bent in ways that hurt his eyes. Some doors opened into rooms that seemed bigger on the inside. Jack tried not to stare, but it was hard. In. Here, the robot said, stopping at a door that changed colors. Jack took a deep breath and walked in. The office was big and full of strange objects. Things that might be books lined the walls. A desk made of what looked like glass but moved like water sat in the center. Behind it was Professor Zixvordian. The alien was tall and thin. Its skin changed colors like oil on water, moving between purple and green. It had 6 eyes on what seemed to be a head. No nose, no ears that Jack could see. When it opened its mouth, Jack saw small moving parts instead of teeth. So, the human has arrived. The professor's voice sounded like 3 people talking at once. How interesting. Jack tried to stand up straight. Thank you for accepting me into your program, Professor. Yes, well. The alien's eyes moved around, looking at different parts of Jack at the same time. Your species is new to us. Very new. Some think too new. We're quick learners, Jack said. Are you? The professor made a sound like metal scraping. Maybe it was laughing. Your kind only figured out computers less than 100 years ago. The Zorg babies play with more complex technology in their sleeping pods. Jack felt his face get hot. He was used to being the smart one back home. Here he was, the dumb alien from a backward planet. I'm ready to learn, Jack said. We shall see. The professor's skin turned dark blue. Your room is in the Earth section. Classes start tomorrow. Try not to touch anything you don't understand. Last exchange student from the gas planets of Sector 12 caused quite a mess, Jack nodded. The robot appeared again and let him out. His room was small but nice. The bed adjusted itself when he sat on it. The window showed the 3 moons and a city that went on forever. Buildings so tall they disappeared into clouds. Flying vehicles moving in perfect lines. Jack put his bag down and took out a picture of his family. Mom, Dad, and his little sister Lily. He put it on the desk. I made it, he said to the picture. Now I just have to prove humans belong here. The next day, Jack found his classroom. It was a big round room with seats that changed, shaped to fit whoever sat in them. About 30 students from different planets were there. Jack took a seat near the back. The chair formed around him, surprisingly comfortable. A student next to him looked over. This alien had metal skin that shined like silver. It looked almost human except for the eyes, which were solid gold with no pupils. First day? The alien asked in perfect English. Is it that obvious? Jack asked. You're gripping your seat like it might eat you? The alien held out a hand. I'm Kira. My planet is about 20 light years from yours. Jack shook the hand. It was warm, not cold like metal should be. Jack Collins, Earth, I know. Everyone knows you're the first human to come here. It's a big deal. Before Jack could answer, Professor Zixvordian entered the room. Everyone got quiet. Welcome to Advanced Computational Theory, the professor said. Its skin was bright yellow today. This class will challenge your understanding of how the universe processes information. The professor looked right at Jack. Some of you may find this difficult. Some may not be ready for this level of thought. Jack knew the professor meant him. He sat up straighter. Today we begin with quantum binary structures, the professor continued. A big hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing shapes and symbols Jack had never seen. For the next 2 hours, Jack struggled to keep up. The professor talked about things that made Jack's head hurt. Some students asked questions using words Jack didn't know. After class, Jack felt tired and discouraged. How did you find it? Kira asked as they left the room. I understood maybe 10%, Jack admitted. That's not bad for a first day. I've been studying your Earth computers, very primitive but interesting ideas. Thanks. I think Kira pointed down the hall. The library has basic texts that might help. I can show you, Jack smiled. Maybe he had made his first alien friend. Over the next few weeks, Jack studied harder than ever before. He slept little. He read books that changed as he turned the pages, updating with new information. He practiced on computers that responded to his thoughts. Slowly, he began to understand. Earth computers were simple, yes, but the ideas behind them were the same, just more basic, like comparing a child's drawing to a great painting. Same concept, different skill level. One day, Professor Zixvordian gave the class their first test. Jack finished it and turned it in, not feeling very confident. The next day, the professor called him to stay after class. Collins, the professor said when they were alone, your test was ... surprising. Jack prepared himself for bad news. I know I'm behind the others. You misunderstand. Your approach to problem 3 was ... unusual. No student has tried that method before. Oh, I just thought it was the simplest way. The professor's skin turned a color Jack hadn't seen before. Indeed, sometimes simple is valuable. Your Earth thinking is different, not always correct, but ... interesting. Jack felt a small spark of hope. Maybe he did belong here after all. As he left the classroom, Jack looked out at the alien city under the 3 moons. He still had a long way to go. For the first time, he thought maybe, just maybe, humans had something to offer the galaxy. 2 months passed at the Galactic University. Jack learned more each day. The strange became normal. He no longer stared when a student with 6 arms sat next to him. He didn't jump when his food moved on his plate in the dining hall. Jack made more friends besides Kira. There was Glob, a blob of green jelly that could think. Glob was actually many small creatures that worked as one mind. Then there was Zorp, a tiny being who wore a robot suit to move around. Without it, Zorp was smaller than Jack's thumb. You are doing well for a human, Kira said one day as they studied in the library. The library was a huge room with books and data screens that floated in the air. Thanks, Jack said. I still feel behind everyone else. But you are catching up. Professor Zixvordian has noticed. Jack looked up from the screen. Really? Yes, I heard him talking to other teachers. He said your solutions are ... unexpected. Jack wasn't sure if that was good or bad. The professor still gave him harder work than the other students. It seemed like he wanted Jack to fail. The professor doesn't like humans, said Glob, who sat on the table like a wobbling green hill. Many older aliens think humans are too wild. Too emotional. Why? Jack asked. Your kind fights wars over silly things, Zorp said in a tiny voice from his robot suit. You hurt your own planet. You argue all the time. Not all of us, Jack said. Most aliens fear what is different, Kira said. Humans think in ways we don't understand. Jack was about to ask more when his wrist computer beeped. A message appeared. Come to my office, now, Professor Zixvordian. Jack's friends looked worried. Good luck, Kira said. Jack walked to the professor's office. His heart beat fast. Had he done something wrong? Was he being sent back to Earth? The door changed from blue to green as he knocked. Enter, said the professor's voice. Inside, the professor stood looking at a big screen. His skin was dark purple. Today, almost black. Collins, good, look at this. The professor pointed to the screen. Jack saw what looked like computer code. But it was more complex than anything he had seen on Earth. Symbols and lines moved and changed as he watched. What is it? Jack asked. This is your midterm project, said the professor. It is called the Kronos loop, a famous problem in our field. Jack studied the screen. The code seemed to fold in on itself, never ending. What does it do? It creates a loop that cannot be solved. The values change based on their own outputs. It goes on forever, getting more complex. Jack nodded slowly. So what am I supposed to do? Fix it. The professor's 6 eyes all looked at Jack. Make it work. Jack felt his mouth open. But you just said it can't be solved. Did I? The professor made that metal scraping sound again. Perhaps I said. It has not been solved yet. Jack looked back at the screen. How long do I have? 2 weeks. Other students get different projects, easier ones. Why give me the hard one? Jack asked. He tried not to sound angry. The professor's skin changed to a deep blue. Because you are human. Your kind wants to join the Galactic Federation. You want our technology, our protection. But many aliens think humans are not ready. And you're one of them, Jack said. I am ... decided. This project will help me decide. Jack stood straighter. I'll try my best. I expect nothing less and nothing more. The professor turned away. The project is now in your student account. You may go. Jack left the office feeling both angry and scared. The professor had given him an impossible task. It wasn't fair. Back in his room, Jack opened his computer and looked at the Kronos loop. It was even more complex than he thought. The code changed? As he watched like it was alive, for the next few days Jack barely left his room. He skipped meals. He slept only a few hours each night. His friends came to check on him. You look terrible, Kira said when she visited. You need to rest. I can't, Jack said. His eyes were red from looking at screens. I have to solve this. No one has ever solved the Kronos loop, Kira said. Some have tried for years. Then why give it to me? Jack asked. Just to watch me. Fail? Maybe, Glob said from the corner of the room. Or maybe to see how you try. Jack thought about this. Maybe it wasn't about solving the problem. Maybe it was about how he approached it. For the next week, Jack tried every trick he knew. He built programs to analyze the loop. He asked older students for advice. Nothing worked. The loop kept changing, always one step ahead. With 3 days left, Jack was ready to give up. He sat in the dining hall, too tired to eat. Kira and Glob sat with him. I'm going to fail, Jack said. The professor was right. Humans aren't ready. Don't say that, Kira said. You think differently than us. That's good. Different how? Jack asked. We aliens follow rules. We build on what we know. Humans ... Jump around. You try crazy things. Glob wobbled in agreement. Yes, humans make weird connections. Sometimes wrong, sometimes brilliant. Jack thought about this. It was true. Earth's computer history was full of strange solutions, tricks that worked even when they shouldn't. Hacks, they called them. Maybe I've been trying to think like an alien, Jack said slowly. Maybe I should think like a human. He went back to his room with new energy. Instead of trying to solve the whole loop, he looked for weak spots. Places where he might trick the system. 2 days later, Jack was still working. He had found something interesting. A pattern in how the loop changed. It wasn't random. It followed rules too, just hidden ones. On the last night before the project was due, Jack had an idea, a crazy human idea. It probably wouldn't work. But it was worth trying. He wrote a simple program, just a few lines of code. It didn't try to solve the whole loop. Instead, it watched for the pattern and jumped in at just the right moment with a simple command. Jack ran his program. It failed. He fixed it and tried again. Failed again. All night he worked, making small changes. At dawn, with just hours left. He tried one more time. The screen flashed. The loop ran faster and faster. Then suddenly it stopped. No way, Jack whispered. His program had worked. It hadn't solved the whole loop, but it had found a way to make it stop changing. A simple trick that made the impossible possible. Jack saved his work and sent it to the professor. Then he fell onto his bed and went to sleep. Win or lose, he had done his best. He had thought like a human. Jack slept for 12 hours straight. When he woke up, his room was dark. He checked his computer. No message from Professor Zixvordian. Had his solution failed after all? There was a knock at his door. Jack opened it to find Kira, Glob, and Zorp waiting outside. Is it true? Kira asked, her metal face showing no emotion, but her voice excited. Is what true? Jack asked, still groggy from sleep. The whole school is talking about it, Zorp said from his small robot. They say you solved the Kronos loop. Jack rubbed his eyes. I don't know. I think I found a way to stop it, but I haven't heard from the professor. Glob wobbled excitedly. The professor called an emergency meeting of all teachers. Very unusual. Really? Jack felt nervous. When? Right now, Kira said. We came to get you. The professor wants you there too. Jack quickly changed his clothes and followed his friends through the halls of the university. Students stopped to look at him as he passed. Some pointed, others whispered. Why is everyone staring? Jack asked. The Kronos loop has been a famous unsolved problem for 50 years, Kira explained. Many great minds have tried to fix it. They reached a large hall Jack had never been in before. Inside, at least 30 alien professors sat in a half-circle. Professor Zixvordian stood in the center. His skin was a bright, angry red. Collins, good. Come here. The professor pointed to a spot next to him. Jack walked to the center of the room, feeling like he was on trial. The other professors looked at him with their various eyes, tentacles, and sensing organs. Show them, Professor Zixvordian said. A large screen appeared in the air. On it was Jack's solution to the Kronos loop. It looked so simple next to the complex, ever-changing loop. This human claims to have solved the Kronos loop, the professor said to the other teachers. I have verified his solution myself. It works. Sounds of surprise came from the other professors. Some made noises Jack's ears couldn't properly hear. Impossible, said one professor, who looked like a tall insect. The loop cannot be solved. It hasn't been solved, said another who floated above her chair. It has been tricked. Explain your solution, human, said a third professor. This one made of what? Looked like living crystal. Jack took a deep breath. I noticed the loop follows patterns. It seems random, but it's not. It changes based on rules. So I wrote a program that watches for a specific pattern. When that pattern happens, my code jumps in with a simple command that tells the loop to end. Show us, said the crystal professor. Jack nodded and pressed a button on the screen. His program ran alongside the Kronos loop. For a few seconds, nothing happened. The loop kept changing and growing. Then suddenly, when a certain pattern appeared, Jack's program inserted a single line of code: loop. Terminate equals true. The Kronos loop froze, then slowly faded away. Silence filled the room. Then all the professors started talking at once. This is not a proper solution. The human has cheated. This breaks all standard approaches. Professor Zixvordian held up his hands for quiet. I thought the same at first. But I have tested this solution extensively. It works. Every time. But it's so simple, said the insect professor. One line of code? Yes, Jack said. I didn't try to solve the whole loop. I just looked for the weakness. Weakness? The floating. Professor drifted closer. Explain. The loop changes based on its own rules. But those rules don't check if someone tells it to stop. There's no protection against a direct command to end. The crystal professor made a sound like bells, because no one ever thought to try something so basic. Humans often find simple solutions to complex problems, Professor Zixvordian said. His skin had changed to a color Jack had never seen before, a mix of blue and gold. They don't follow our logic. They try things we would consider too obvious to work. Is this true of all humans? Asked another professor. I don't know, Jack said honestly. But on Earth we have a saying, sometimes the simplest solution is the best solution. The professors talked among themselves. Jack couldn't tell if they were impressed or angry. Maybe both. Finally, Professor Zixvordian turned to Jack. You may go. We need to discuss this further. Jack left the hall, feeling confused. Had he done well? Or had he just proven that humans didn't understand proper alien science? His friends were waiting outside. What happened? Kira asked. I don't know, Jack said. They didn't seem happy with my solution. Of course not, Glob wobbled. You solved it the wrong way. How can it be wrong if it works? Jack asked. To aliens, the method matters as much as the result, Zorp explained. Your solution is too human. Jack didn't know what to say to that. They walked to the dining hall together. More students stared at Jack. Some came up to him and asked questions about his solution. Word was spreading fast. Jack tried to eat, but he wasn't hungry. He kept thinking about the professor's reactions. Had he made things better or worse for humans? 3 hours later, Jack's wrist computer beeped with a message. My office, immediately, Professor Zixvordian. Jack said goodbye to his friends and walked slowly to the professor's office. The door was already open when he arrived. Inside, the professor was alone. His skin was the same blue-gold color as before. Sit down, Collins. Jack sat in a chair that formed around him. The academic council has been discussing your solution, the professor said. It has caused quite a debate. I'm sorry if I know. The professor held up a hand. Do not apologize. You did exactly what I hoped you would do, Jack blinked in surprise. You wanted me to solve it? I wanted to see how you would approach it. Most species try the same methods, following the same logic paths. Humans are different. The professor moved to look out his window at the 3 moons. Some on the council see your solution as proof that humans are too unpredictable, too willing to break rules. Others see it as exactly what our galaxy needs, a fresh perspective. And what do you think? Jack asked. The professor turned back to him. I think you have earned the right to continue your education here. And I think perhaps humans do have something to offer the Galactic Federation after all. For the first time since Jack had arrived, the professor's face parts moved in what might have been a smile. Rest now, Collins. Tomorrow we begin work on even more interesting problems. Jack left the office feeling like he had passed some test. He didn't know he was taking. He hadn't just solved a coding problem. He had shown that humans think differently, and that might be exactly what the galaxy needed. News of Jack's solution to the Kronos loop spread quickly. Over the next few days, students from all over the university came to talk to him. Some were curious, some were impressed. A few seemed angry that a human had solved a famous alien problem. You're a celebrity now, Kira said as they walked to class. The first human to solve a major galactic coding challenge. Jack shook his head. I just got lucky. No, Glob said, bouncing along beside them. You thought differently. That's not luck. In class, Professor Zixvordian treated Jack differently now. He called on Jack more often. He asked for Jack's opinions. And he gave Jack new, harder problems to solve. One day, after class, the professor asked Jack to stay behind. Collins, I have a proposition for you. What kind of proposition? Jack asked. Each year, the Galactic University holds a competition. The best students from each department compete to solve new problems. It is a great honor to be chosen. Jack felt nervous. And you want me to compete? Yes, the professor's skin turned a bright yellow. No human has ever been invited before. But after your work on the Kronos loop, the board of directors insisted. When is it? 1 month from now. You will compete against 9 other students from across the galaxy. The winner receives recognition and a special place in next year's Advanced Studies program. Jack thought about it. He was still catching up on alien technology. Could he really compete against the best students from other worlds? What if I embarrass myself? Jack asked. You might, the professor said honestly. But you might also show the galaxy what humans can do. Jack nodded slowly. I'll do it. Good. We begin special training tomorrow. For the next month, Jack worked harder than ever. Every day after regular classes, he met with Professor Zixvordian for extra lessons. The professor pushed Jack to his limits, giving him harder and harder problems to solve. Some days, Jack felt like giving up. The alien technology was so advanced. The other competitors had been studying it their whole lives. "You can do this," Kira told him when he doubted himself. "Don't try to be like the others. Be human, that's your strength." Glob and Zorp helped too. They practiced with Jack, challenging him with problems from their home worlds. Jack learned that each species had different ways of thinking about computers, different approaches, different strengths and weaknesses. "Use what makes you different," Zorp advised. "Humans are good at making connections others don't see." The day of the competition arrived. Jack stood in a large arena with 9 other students. Each had a computer station. A huge screen showed their work to the audience. Hundreds of aliens sat watching. Jack saw his friends in the crowd. Even Professor Zixvordian looked nervous, his skin changing colors rapidly. "Welcome to the annual Galactic Coding Competition," announced a floating robot. "Today our 10 finalists will face 3 challenges. The first challenge begins now." On Jack's screen appeared a problem. It involved moving data through a complex network. Jack had practiced similar problems with the professor. He got to work. The first challenge went well. Jack finished 3rd. Not bad, but not great either. The second challenge was harder. It involved quantum calculations. Jack struggled but managed to finish 5th. "You're doing fine," Kira said during the break between challenges. 2 more students have been eliminated. You're still in the competition. "The last challenge is always the hardest," Glob warned. Jack nodded. He needed to do better on the final challenge to have any chance of winning. "The final challenge begins now," the robot announced. The problem appeared on Jack's screen. It was like nothing he had seen before. A virtual world with its own rules and physics. The goal was to write a program that could navigate this world and find a hidden object. The other students began typing furiously. Jack stared at the screen, trying to understand the world's rules. They were strange and seemed to change randomly. "This is impossible," Jack muttered to himself. Then he stopped. That thought reminded him of the Kronos loop. Everyone had said that was impossible too. Instead of trying to understand all the rules, Jack wrote a simple program. It would try random paths, learn from its mistakes, and adapt. It wasn't elegant. It wasn't clever, but it might work. The minutes ticked by. Jack watched as his program explored the virtual world, failing often but learning each time. The other students had more complex solutions. Their programs moved with purpose, following the rules they understood. With 5 minutes left, Jack's program was still searching. Then suddenly, it found a pattern. The world wasn't random after all. It changed based on what was looking for it. The more direct the search, the harder it became to find. Jack quickly added one line to his program: search.goal equals anything but the target. His program stopped looking directly for the target and instead explored everything else. The virtual world stopped changing so quickly. And there, in a place no one would think to look, was the hidden object. Jack's program found it with just seconds left. The crowd gasped. On the big screen, everyone could see what had happened. Jack had tricked the system again. The final scores appeared. Jack Collins, Earth Zorlik, Beetlejuice Prime Shindy, Archerin Collective. Jack couldn't believe it. He had won. A human had won the Galactic Coding Competition. The crowd was silent. For a moment, then Kira started cheering. Glob and Zorp joined in. Soon, many in the audience were applauding. Professor Zixvordian approached Jack, his skin now a bright, happy gold. "Congratulations, Collins. You have done what no one thought possible." "I just use what makes humans different," Jack said. "We don't always follow the rules. And that, it seems, can be a strength." The professor put a hand on Jack's shoulder. "The Galactic Federation will be most interested in these results." As Jack accepted the winner's medal, he thought about Earth. His home was far away, but today he had brought it a little closer to joining the galactic community. All because he thought like a human when everyone expected him to think like an alien. The day after Jack won the coding competition, his wrist computer beeped with an urgent message. It was from the highest office at the university. "Report to the Grand Council chamber immediately." Jack felt nervous as he got dressed. Had he done something wrong? Was someone upset about his win? When he left his room, he found Kira waiting outside. You got called too? Jack asked. Kira nodded. So did Glob and Zorp. The message said it's about you. They walked together to the Grand Council chamber, a huge room at the top of the tallest tower. Jack had never been there before. Inside, a large round table sat in the center. Around it were 12 very important-looking aliens. Jack recognized some as the heads of different departments. Professor Zixvordian was there too. Glob and Zorp were already inside, waiting nervously. Jack Collins, said one alien who seemed to be in charge. She looked like a tall, elegant tree with glowing leaves. Please step forward. Jack moved to the center of the room. I am Chancellor Xylox, the tree-like alien said. I oversee all education in this sector of the galaxy. Do you know why you are here? No, Jack said honestly. You have caused quite a stir, human. Chancellor Xylox's leaves glowed brighter. No one from a non-Federation planet has ever won the coding competition before. Jack swallowed hard. Sorry if that's a problem. A problem. The Chancellor made a sound like wind through branches. It might have been laughter. It is extraordinary. The way you solved the final challenge has been viewed by over 7 billion beings across the galaxy. 7 billion? Jack felt dizzy. That was almost Earth's entire population, Professor Zixvordian spoke up. Collins has consistently demonstrated the unique human approach to problem solving. It is unorthodox but effective. Indeed, said another council member, a being made of blue crystal. The question before us is what to do about it. Jack looked at his friends for support. They seemed as confused as he was. The Galactic Federation has rules, explained Chancellor Xylox. New species must prove they can contribute to our shared knowledge before they can join. Until now, humans were considered too primitive. But your success has changed many minds, said the crystal being. What does that mean? Jack asked. It means, said Professor Zixvordian, his skin a proud gold color, that the Federation Council has requested a formal review of Earth's application for membership. Jack's heart beat faster. Because of a coding competition? Because you have shown that humans think differently, the Chancellor said. Different perspectives are valuable. The greatest advances in our history came when unlike minds worked together. One of the council members, a small purple alien with many eyes, looked unhappy. Some of us still have concerns. One human success does not prove an entire species is ready. That is why we have called you all here, Chancellor Xylox said. Jack Collins, we want you to return to Earth as our ambassador. Ambassador? Jack repeated, shocked. Yes, you will help prepare your people for possible Federation membership, and you will select other humans to join our university. Jack couldn't believe it. You want me to pick more students? We need to know if other humans can adapt as you have, the professor explained. If they can think in the same creative ways, your friends will help, said the Chancellor, looking at Kira, Glob, and Zorp. They have volunteered to go to Earth with you as representatives of their worlds. Jack looked at his friends in surprise. Kira's metal face couldn't smile, but her eyes seemed happy. Glob wobbled excitedly. Zorp's tiny robot gave a thumbs up. We want to see your planet, Kira said. And help explain the Federation to your people. This is a big responsibility, Jack said. What if I can't find the right students? That is why we are sending Professor Zixvordian with you as well, the Chancellor said. The professor's skin turned a surprised blue. Me? You recognized this human's potential when others did not, said the crystal being. You pushed him to succeed. You are the logical choice. Jack tried not to laugh at the professor's shocked face. The alien who had given him such a hard time would now be coming to Earth. When do we leave? Jack asked. In 1 week, said the Chancellor. You should prepare your family and your government. The arrival of alien representatives will be significant for your world. Jack thought about how his parents would react when he came home with 3 aliens and told them he was now an ambassador. His dad would probably faint. There is one more thing, said the unhappy purple alien. The human must pass a final test. The room went quiet. Chancellor Xylox's leaves dimmed. Council member Vex, we agreed this was unnecessary. I insist, said Vex. One lucky solution is not enough. I want to see if he can solve the quantum paradox. Several council members gasped. The professor's skin turned a worried gray. What's the quantum paradox? Jack asked. It is theoretically unsolvable, the professor said quietly. No one has ever found an answer. Jack took a deep breath. One more impossible test. But he had passed the others. I'll try. A screen appeared in the air. On it was a complex equation with shapes and symbols Jack had never seen before. This equation represents reality itself, explained Vex. Find the missing variable. Jack looked at the strange equation. It made no sense to him. The symbols kept changing, moving around. It was like trying to solve a puzzle made of water. Then Jack noticed something. When he looked at one part of the equation, other parts changed. When he looked away, they changed back. The observer affects the outcome, Jack whispered. It was a basic principle of quantum physics, even on Earth. Jack closed his eyes. The missing variable is the observer, he said. It's me. The room was silent. Jack opened his eyes. The equation on the screen had changed. Now it showed a simple answer. Observer equals variable. Impossible, whispered Vex. No, said Professor Zixvordian, his skin now bright with amazement. It's human. Chancellor Xylox's leaves glowed with approval. The Council's decision is final. Jack Collins will be our ambassador to Earth. The Federation review will proceed. As Jack left the council chamber with his friends, he felt both excited and scared. He had come to learn about aliens, but ended up teaching them about humans instead. What will your people think of us? Kira asked as they walked. Jack smiled. They'll be surprised, confused, and very curious. Just like I was, and the professor coming to Earth? Glob wobbled with amusement. That will be interesting, Jack said. Laughing, I can't wait to show him human computers. As they looked out at the 3 moons of the alien world, Jack thought about Earth's single moon so far away. Soon he would see it again, but this time he wouldn't be going home alone. He would be bringing new friends, new knowledge, and maybe a new future for all of humanity, all because he solved an unsolvable problem with one line of code.